All right, Siski cracking his first beer on the Tim and Sisk Fantasy Football Podcast.
This is true.
We're gonna be a couple boys out of Toronto. Got the CNE in town this weekend. It's pretty garbage.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're up there yet, Siski, but
No reason to go.
when
to
the
Toronto.
food tent got some filthy fills. That was just some awful meat, thin slice of cheese.
Worse meat than what the Jays pitchers have been throwing this season down the hill, or what?
Yeah, pretty much. Those guys are getting clobbered left, right, and center. But we're going to stick to fantasy football and hop into the first round.
Sounds good to me, dude.
Guys we think might be going a little too high. Alvin Kamara. Rushing.
He's so tough to rank.
He is, because he got Mark Ingram out the first couple of weeks, first of all.
Yeah, and then it's not pretty for run defenses right when Ingram comes back either.
It's not, and then they got the bye week 6, so Ingram doesn't really get any. He doesn't really get to get on it until week 7.
He has
much.
Redskins week 5, then bye, then Ravens defense, Vikings defense.
Yeah, so his first real games are the Ravens and the Vikings. He's got 2 tough.
Then he plays LA. Then he plays Cincinnati again, or Cincinnati not again in week 10. So those are debatable, tough matchups for Ingram. It's
I mean, 6 yards per carry last year, 10 yards per reception. There's no way, right? There's no way he keeps that efficiency.
His TD rate was like Gale Sayers.
Yeah, off the scales too. And he never saw more than 12 carries in one game. So you're not paying for a workout course in the first round.
He's ranked 6th right now.
I can't take him there, man. And yeah, I don't know. It's not for me. I'd much rather have Saquon Barkley, who's going basically the same pick.
Yeah,
but
then you get into him and Kareem Hunt is kind of a toss up because they're both coming off their rookie seasons. Mm-hmm. Melvin Gordon can't decide if he wants to be good or if he wants to be bad.
Yeah, and the other thing there is Austin Eckler is actually pretty good. Maybe grabs a couple of his receptions, not huge, but just enough to make it. He's a second rounder.
Kamara's
instead of a first.
Kamara's draft price is probably his ceiling. Well, it obviously is his ceiling.
He's the guy for me in the first round. I'm not touching him.
If he slips and I have last pick.
Yeah, maybe. If you get him at 9 or 10, back end of a 10-teamer or 12-teamer, sure. But the guy that is slipping actually is Kareem Hunt. Because people just think there's too many weapons there. With Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, he's not going to get his, but...
No, I still feel pretty confident in Kareem Hunt, though, because Andy Reid running back.
Yeah, and he didn't utilize him to his full potential last year.
But then it's also Andy Reid.
He had a couple weeks where it's what are you doing, Andy Reid? Get Hunt out there. He's your best player. If Hunt falls to, I did a mock the other day. Got him at, 13. Why? Why would anyone let him drop that low? For me, I mean...
That means that, Fournette had to push up above him.
Yeah, I guess the wide receivers were jumping a bit in there. People were taking Michael Thomas before him, Keenan Allen.
Michael Thomas is a different debate.
I like the workhorse running backs in the first round for the most part.
I don't know, Kareem Hunt, I'd still feel pretty confident in taking him. Because Patrick Mahomes, the guy looks like he could be good, but then everybody else overreacts off of 170-yard pass in the preseason. But they're going to want to run the football.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill can't score 7 touchdowns, or 7 or 8 touchdowns of 20-plus yards.
Oh, there's no way. Yeah. It's he was just busting off runs left, right, and center. And
Kelce,
he was
I feel
big
pretty
playability,
confident.
sure.
I feel pretty confident in most of the Chiefs' weapons, to be honest. Yeah. If you can get them at the right time in the draft, though. But I think Kareem Hunt out of all of them is the least I feel the most comfortable drafting Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I'm in on most of the first round here.
Kareem Hunt seems discounted if he keeps slipping this much.
Yeah, I would have to agree. If you're getting him 10 or later, that's an awesome pick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the first most of the first round's pretty stable. Bell, Gurley, Johnson, Zeke, those guys are all studs. For the most part, how you want to arrange them.
It depends what the format is. If
yeah.
we're going off 0.5 PPR, it's Bell every time.
Yeah.
If it's a keeper league, then I start thinking like other
Zeke
players.
moves up. If it's a keeper league,
I think this season, the Steelers are going to run Le'Veon Bell into the ground. Like he's on the tag one more time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't continue to just do what they did last year and get him 30-plus touches a game. I mean, they were good, and they'll continue to do it. And I don't see otherwise.
It's just the only thing with drafting Le'Veon Bell, number one, is you're probably going to want to load up on running backs kind of early, just because we saw last year he sat out all of training camp, all the preseason, comes back for week 1. And he was really, really rusty the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, you did notice that. Even if you look at his yards per carry total, he was actually only like 4.1 yards per carry. So it's
like week 1.
It's not that he was that efficient. He just gets so many touches. He's that guy.
Week 1, he only had 4.7 points against Cleveland.
Yeah.
Week 2, he had 9.1 points, but he had 87 rushing yards. And then week 3, he goes 15. Week 4, he goes 30.
Yeah, by week 4 he had 35 touches, attempts.
His worst 2 weeks of the entire season were week 1 and week 2. And maybe it was part of it Mike Tomlin wanting to send him a message to skipping training camp and skipping preseason, or part of it was Le'Veon just needed to get the rust off and get back into game form.
Yeah.
So I'd still draft Le'Veon Bell number 1 if it's redraft, but try to get 3 or 4 running backs with your first 8 picks if you do it.
Now, I think if you're in multiple drafts and let's say you've got the first pick in 2 different drafts, I don't think you should take Le'Veon Bell there both times.
No, I like
you
taking
should
differentiate
a little bit. Because what happened last year was, if you took David Johnson in all your drafts, you're screwed.
Yep.
You're screwed. And I know he's a stud and everything, you think, and then he gets hurt. And all of a sudden, so you should really try and mix it up. All those 3 guys are studs, so just mix them around.
Feeling good about
or 4 guys, sorry.
You went from feeling good about picking DJ number 1 to shower crying.
Awful.
Crying every other day and drinking yourself to sleep.
Well, I think
I didn't have any DJ. I traded him.
I did not either.
I traded him away in one of my keeper
But that's
leagues.
because the highest pick I had, I think I did.
Well, no, I traded
drafts last year. The highest pick I had was 2nd, and I ended up with some Bell. No DJ though.
Yeah, and then DJ and Le'Veon are identical. They're the exact same player in a lot of ways.
DJ had one of the greatest seasons of all time a couple years ago before that injury.
Yeah.
Whether he can repeat that to the T, I don't know about that. But I mean, even if he can do 80% of that, he's still one of these guys.
If you look at the top 4 running backs, you can make a case for whichever one of those 4 running backs you want to rank number 1.
Exactly.
And you can argue for each one of those 4 why they should be dropped to 4th out of those 1, 2, 3, 4.
Exactly, yeah. And then you got Zeke might get 400 touches because he's the only good player on that team. So
Todd Gurley should go number 1 based off of his season he had last year.
Yeah.
But do the Rams take a step back, or does Jared Goff get better? Do they use Brandon Cooks more? But Sean McVay's offense through 1 season with LA, Gurley's the guy. So does that continue?
Yeah. Well, I think the thing is, people are gonna figure him out a little bit. He got 19 touchdowns last year.
Yeah, he did, but it's okay, you want to try to figure out Gurley and put an extra guy in the box.
Yeah, I know, and now they have Brandon Cooks, who is probably an upgrade from Watkins.
And Robert Woods is still there.
Woods is still good.
And Jared Goff seems to like Tyler Higbee.
Yeah, they're going to be hard to figure out. They're probably about a 10-win team, I would think.
So Gurley...
If they win 10 games, he was not going to get 19 touchdowns. He might get 12.
And then Le'Veon, you know what you're getting. This is it's... If the guy's not hurt, there's no way I don't see any way Le'Veon Bell busts whatsoever. It's the same thing he does every single year. It's like clockwork.
Exactly. So.
And then Zeke, you could move Zeke down if you're really scared about Travis Frederick and Zach Martin.
Yeah, but recent injuries.
The Cowboys, Zach Martin seems he'll be okay for week 1. Travis Frederick, he's going to be hurt, but you can
Yeah, and that's the thing. Well, Arizona doesn't have a good offensive line either, but you just have to... Like, Leonard Fournette...
I really want to see Zeke get used like David Johnson, Le'Veon Bell, and Todd. If he got the uses that these guys did in the passing game, it'd be ridiculous. I think it really would. Because out of Ohio State, like, he could catch passes at Ohio State, and Jason Garrett is either
he did only
Jason Garrett is just either too inept to make the play calls, or he just doesn't want to. Like, Lance Dunbar's not there anymore. There's no Des Bryant. Their best wide receiver is Cole Beasley.
Yeah.
Or Alan Hearns. Like, the balls are going to be there for Zeke. Like, he should catch 50.
He only got 3.8 targets per game last year.
Realistically, he should be on the roster that he's on. He should be catching 50 or 60 passes this season. Easily.
Yeah, you got to hope for that. I do kind of want to see it first, but again, they lose Dez as well, so they're going to have to throw to someone, right? So, it's got to go up.
Was Dez even good last year, though?
He wasn't that great, no. So, yeah, anyways, this is the top four. It's pretty, like I said, with Zeke, he's going to get 400 touches. We saw with Leonard Fournette last year, he was, like, very non-efficient, like, under 4 yards per carry. I think he was, like, 3.6, 3.7, but he still ends up RB7 in leagues last year because he just gets so many touches.
Leonard Fournette was also a monster on the goal line.
Yeah, ton of touchdowns, and he gets the ball like no tomorrow.
The guy that I think Saquon only played one game in the preseason. That was week 1, and he had it was like a 36-yard run his first touch. He looked great, and then this hamstring injury has kind of been lingering. He hasn't been. I think if Saquon had played in week 2 or week 3, and he did another play, like his ADP would have probably hopped over Kamara and maybe hopped over ABs, depending on if people like running backs or not.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I think people are just scared of the Giants.
We're gonna see. Based off of like just the pure prospect, like Saquon is better than Fournette and arguably Zeke, and the Giants' offensive line. No, it's not as good as Dallas's, but Dallas doesn't have Odell Beckham, Evan Engram, and Sterling Shepard to keep defenses honest. Like, Saquon could have a better rookie season than what Zeke did in 2016.
And if he does that, he's easily in that top 4.
And plus, like, his pass game usage is going to be it's going to be definitely there. He might get used as much as Le'Veon Bell and David Johnson right off the bat in the passing game.
Yeah, so first round for the most part, I'm with you. Most of them are pretty fairly ranked. Move Kamara down and take him at 9 or 10.
Yep.
The rest of them, you can reach on Barkley if you want. We like him. Then you start getting into the wide receivers. DeAndre Hopkins should just get peppered.
Odell,
why not?
Yeah, he should. I'm kind of scared of Nuke.
Are you? See, would you rather Nuke or Odell? I would rather Nuke.
Yeah, if I'm going to say, Deshaun Watson kind of worries me because he only did it in 6 games, Eli Manning definitely worries me.
Eli Manning, is that guy even good?
Because it's if I'm arguing that I'm buying into Saquon, and I'm buying into Odell Beckham, and I'm buying into Evan Engram, I have to be buying into Eli Manning at some point, too.
So, everyone likes all the pieces, but they don't like the quarterback. So, it's like... I'm not huge on Odell. I'd rather have Nuke, and I think I'd rather have Julio too.
It just depends on what kind of season Julio wants to have.
Yeah, but people don't want Julio.
Does he want it? Because they don't want Julio because he doesn't score touchdowns.
Yeah, that's a bad reason though. That's such a variant. That's the most variant stat. He had 1,400 yards last year.
A wide receiver I would take over Julio.
Yeah.
Probably Odell and probably Nuke is Keenan Allen. If he plays 16 games, which is a big if, because he doesn't have a good track record of it. A lot of people have their guys. Like Keenan Allen is my guy.
Yeah, and he's going a lot later.
I love Keenan Allen. What's
your reasoning there for liking Keenan Allen better than some of these other guys?
I'm a big believer in the Chargers this year. First of all.
Yeah.
And I'm a little biased because I had him last year, and it's probably recency bias too. But is was it week 11 and week 12 Buffalo Dallas is like 28 and 23. The guy just started going off.
Yeah, and he's the guy getting the red zone targets. He was of wide receivers last year. He's top 3 in red zone targets. Like
I think
I believe he was 7th in red zone touchdowns, but 3rd in targets. So he's getting peppered.
And there's no Hunter Henry this year.
Yeah.
They haven't re-upped Antonio Gates. But like, does Keenan get those?
Yeah, you got to think Mike Williams is taking a step.
Melvin Gordon's there. Mike Williams has been the superstar of Chargers camp.
Yeah,
if you've been following.
Oh, ADP's going way up.
Yeah. I got Mike Williams in the last round of one of my drafts. That's why I kind of draft.
That's pretty awesome because he's going like ninth. He's going like 9th round now. If you drafted 2 weeks ago and got him there, is that a keeper?
Yeah. Well, my last pick was round 12. No, round 11 or round 12 because of all my trades. And I took my last round. I hit on Anthony Miller and Mike Williams. Because like at that point, it's like home run swings, just to fill up my roster. But I don't know. Like Keenan, I really hope he doesn't get hurt. It would literally crush my soul. I would.
His injuries were kind of freak anyway. Though.
Well, a lot of them are like people want to argue injury prone was that he had a ruptured spleen, not his fault.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. That could happen to any wide receiver out there. So.
Michael Thomas, I wasn't a big believer of him coming out of Ohio State. I still drafted him in his rookie season because I got him in the last round.
Mm-hmm. And he showed up in a big way last.
But like, I can't even I think Michael Thomas like this. It's just, if you have a back end pick, then you can get 2 of these wide receivers.
He's fantastic in a PPR, right? Because he's just
You don't know what the Saints are gonna do on any giving season.
Yeah.
Like we said, like the Saints produced what was it 2? Was Mark Ingram a top 10 running back last year in standard?
Mark Ingram was, yes, I believe he was.
They produced 2 top 10,
but that's not
backs.
crazy efficient.
And that's out of the New Orleans Saints, where like Peyton's favorite target used to be John Kuhn. Like Sean Payton's like Bill Belichick level, like you don't know what's going to happen with his running backs.
Exactly, yeah. So, yeah, I think Michael. I'm with you on Keenan Allen. I think you can move him up a little bit. You can move him into that Odell range. Like
these wide receivers are just so tough to rank because they're all like there's not one of these wide receivers I don't like. I could honestly argue the wide receiver I don't like the most in the top tier is Antonio Brown, just because
that's coming for him. It's kind of the inevitable at this point.
I'll still draft Antonio Brown, but it feels like there's going to be a season.
You got to take him after the big 4 anyway.
It feels like there's going to be a season when Antonio Brown doesn't return what he is being drafted at.
So if you're sitting there,
business is not always going to be booming.
Yeah. If you're sitting there at 5 and you got the first 4 off the board,
I'd probably still take a running back, but that's just me.
I'd be really hard pressed not to take Barkley there as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would take Barkley. I would probably take Barkley.
I think at 6, but then I'm taking
if I had the 6th pick and Barkley's gone and my choice is between Alvin Kamara or Antonio Brown, that's when I take Antonio Brown.
All right. So yeah, that breezed through most of the first round there. Now we're starting to get into the second round. Guy I really like there. He's moved up a bit now, but Dalvin Cook, I think he started off the season going at the back end of the second round, and I said this could be.
I think I'd rather Christian McCaffrey. I would move McCaffrey up that much. There's one guy on Twitter, Evan Sylvia, has been pounding since like June or July. CMC's too low. CMC's too low. CMC's too low. And I believe it was an expert draft that was following it. I forget who was in it. Like I'll have to go back and look. But CMC went like pick 14.
Okay, yeah. So the expert drafts, he's going higher than he is in your standard.
So like that means he's above Dalvin. He's above for me he's definitely above Freeman, and he's definitely above McCoy because of what's going to happen with.
Oh, he's above McCoy, no question.
Like McCoy should, in my opinion, McCoy's
if you've been following him, he might not play week 1.
And like Dalvin Cook coming off the injury, whereas CMC, like you know what he does in PPR. And he didn't get that much run last season. Like he's still kind of fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, and by all accounts and beat writers out of Carolina, like The guy, they want to give him touches.
So you think
the best way to keep Cam Newton safe is to have a run game too. And I think Carolina's going to have a really good run game this year. And I really hope they give between the tackles, like they really give McCaffrey a chance. Because like CJ Anderson's there, but I'd rather see CJ as a goal line or like a third and short compared to taking first and second downs from Christian McCaffrey, where I think Christian McCaffrey can absolutely shred defenses.
Yeah,
the guy's a cheat code.
Again, the only problem might be if Cam steals a couple of his touchdowns, which is always something.
But then in PPR, McCaffrey I think is going to catch. McCaffrey caught like 80 balls last year.
Yeah, he's going to catch a ton of balls. So I mean, in PPR he's a second round pick for sure.
I think
you see him go lower in standard.
In a standard league, I would take him at the turn at 2-3 at the 2-3 turn.
In a standard, are you taking him over Dalvin Cook though?
I'm probably taking him over Dalvin Cook just because Dalvin Cook's knee injury and Kirk Cousins being there, but it's so hard because you saw what he did with Chris Thompson, which is like I'm kind of contradicting myself because Kirk Cousins loved to throw to Chris Thompson, but he's also got Kyle Rudolph, he's also got Diggs, he's also got Thielen.
Yeah.
I think the Vikings are going to be a good team this year, and I realistically think the only two Vikings I would actually want on my team are Rudolph and Kirk Cousins.
Okay. See, I would want Cook. I'd be with Cousins as well.
Because Cousins likes to spread the ball around so much. I think Rudolph is going to eat in the end zone for another season in a row. And I think Kirk Cousins could end up being easily a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah, and the one guy that is dropping is Thielen, actually. He's been falling lately. He was going start of the third. Now he's kind of moved to the back end of the third. People just aren't overly excited about his upside, but I mean, he's a guy that he was 5 receptions every single game last year. So if you're in a PPR and you get him heading towards the 4th round, I'm fine with taking Thielen there.
And Thielen's at a point in the rankings where it's he's surrounded by Devonta Adams, Gronk, and Mike Evans.
Devonta Adams
It's crazy. Devonta Adams should be I don't know.
Isn't it crazy to think Aaron Rodgers' number 1 receiver is now going into the start of the 3rd round?
I think it's crazy that
we're taking Jordy
last season. Mike Evans was an early 2nd round pick,
or late first. Yeah.
And now people just want to let him get into the 3rd round. I will take Mike Evans every day of the week. There's touchdown regression coming. He's not going to score. How many touchdowns did he score last year?
He only had. Did he have 3 or 4 last year?
He had 5 again. He had 5 touchdowns last year.
Okay, so he went back.
Now
I remember I told everyone to drop when he had 3 touchdowns. I said, "There's no way this happened again." And then he went off for touchdowns the next season. Then he regresses back and only has 5 again. So maybe this is the year it gets back up, and boom, you got yourself.
He's gonna have tough sledding the first couple of weeks.
So maybe the move is to not draft him, just buy low on him.
Because
if he has a terrible first couple of weeks, start sending trade offers.
I don't think it's. I still think he's gonna get a lot of catches in the first couple of weeks though, because week 1 they come out right out of the gates and play the Saints in the Superdome with Ryan Fitzpatrick as their QB. I think the Saints are gonna absolutely crush the Buccaneers, and we're gonna see Mike Evans as a garbage time god in week 1 against the Saints.
Yeah, gotta love garbage time, right? So
it's gonna be but he's also gonna have Marshawn Lattimore on him, and Marshawn Lattimore is arguably a top 3 corner in the entire National Football League.
So,
but
Mike Evans is huge, man.
The Saints,
the guy's a big red zone target down there.
The Saints are going to be leading, and they're going to be leading by a lot in that game. I think by the start of the second half. So.
Yeah,
I think Mike Evans.
Better team
I think Mike Evans' garbage time is going to be the entire second half, realistically. And there's no run game right now because Ronald Jones has been terrible.
Well, Peyton Barber's going to be the starter probably.
Chris Goodwin seems like he's a baller.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're going to see Goodwin produce until Winston comes back.
Yeah, and they got 2 decent tight ends there, so too, with Brayton, Howard, so.
And then people just seem to sleep on Mike Evans this year.
Yeah.
And I found myself drafting him a lot.
I'm still, there's a decent, I still think he's kind of fairly ranked.
Like
I've seen
Tyreek Hill go before Mike Evans, and I don't understand it. I understand the flash and Tyreek Hill scores these great long plays.
Although I will have to say that they've been clicking preseason so far. They've been the guys clicking. Sammy Watkins. Some people thought maybe Sammy Watkins jumping into the role. Unfortunately, just hasn't developed like that. Maybe if your Sammy's like your wide receiver 3 or 4, I still think he's worth a shot. But it looks like Hill's going to be the guy there. So,
and then another guy I think is way too low. And it's like I see people on Twitter saying, "Oh, a 3rd round pick, 4th round pick. When do we pick him?" Is Jordan Howard?
Yeah, there's word out that he might be catching more balls this year too. So,
I'm a Bears fan, so I'll get that out of the way first. So I'm a little bit biased towards the Bears, but I follow them pretty closely, and the reports were like the first week of training camp that this guy's staying before and after practice to catch balls. Do people not want to draft him because they don't think he can catch, or because
are they for some reason scared of Tariq Cohen still take all the passes?
I think a lot of it has to do with John Fox and the way Matt Nagy used Kareem Hunt last year. It should really encourage people to draft Jordan Howard and draft him right now because he's not going to be this low again. We're talking about a guy.
Well, he was back into
We're talking about a guy with back to back 1,000-yard seasons, 1,313 yards in his rookie year, 1,122 yards in his sophomore year, 6 touchdowns as a rookie, only starting 13 of the 16 games, 9 touchdowns last year on a Bears team that was horrendous at passing the ball. They had no wide receivers, and John Fox threw Mitch Trubisky to the Wolves. And Howard still came away with 9 touchdowns.
Yeah,
and in his first season in the league, he actually caught 29 passes for 298 yards and a touchdown. And his usage didn't go down. His usage went down by 6 receptions in his second year. He had 23 catches, but he only had 125 yards. And a lot of that is because he's a check down, a panic throw. Like, they didn't design many plays to get him the ball as a catch, I feel. And in standard, I'm all over him as my RB2.
Yeah, well, you're going to see McCoy move down now. He'll be going ahead of him for sure. He'll be up in that Devontae Freeman range. I think I would take him over Devontae Freeman.
And he's only fumbled 3 times in his NFL career.
Yeah, he's not screwing up too often, that's for sure.
And to think that he scored 9 touchdowns and a lot of that in the red zone on a Bears team whose best wide receiver last year. That's my point.
Nothing. At least they have A-Rod this year, so
the Bears are going to be good this year. But
they'll be better for sure.
I'll just drink my beer.
I don't know about good, but yeah, we'll continue drinking our piss water, Old Milwaukee. And that piss water will lead you into. I'm going to lead into your favorite guy right here, in Jerick McKinnon.
Oh. See, I don't have anything against Jerick McKinnon. I just wouldn't draft him where he is. I don't think there's any player I wouldn't draft. It's just I would rather draft somebody else.
And that's a bad strategy to go in and say, I'm not going to draft him. If he drops 2 rounds, all of a sudden.
It's I hate Antonio Brown. I never want to pick him. And you have 10th pick in your draft, and somehow Antonio Brown gets to you at 10. You're stupid if you don't pick him.
No, you should be drafting value. You don't want to let biases jump into your draft just because you don't like the guy.
Jerick McKinnon's ADP right now puts him...
He's basically going the same spot as Jordan Howard right now.
I would rather have Howard above McKinnon.
Yeah, but again, I'm starting to lean that way too, but I could
see both of them being good this year, though, because Kyle Shanahan is proven to be a good coach for running backs. His system in Atlanta with Devonta Freeman and Tevin Coleman was just ridiculous. It's like the guy was playing Madden. He had Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Tevin Coleman, and Devonta Freeman. The Falcons were disgusting.
Yeah,
but if you're relying on Jerick McKinnon to catch passes, that means you have to be 100% in on Jimmy Garoppolo. a guy who's only played 7 or 8 games in his NFL career.
And I mean, he looked good last year. He had an easy strength of schedule at the end.
Yep.
But he's definitely at least a league average quarterback, I think.
I think for me, approaching a lot of the 49ers players, I don't want to draft them, but I'll trade for them after I watch week 1. I think that's my approach to the Niners. Now, I find myself taking a lot of Matt Breida at the end of the draft.
Just in case. Because here's the thing with Jared.
He's free. Matt Breida's free.
Yeah, and here's the thing with Jared. He's either going to be, he's going to vault up and be, just a stud, and they just use him as a workhorse, or he's probably going to be a bust, and then Breida comes in. So he's one way or the other. Those spots I like drafting Jared in is if you have a safe RB at the top. If he's your RB1, that's a bad move.
Yep.
That is a very bad move. But if you have...
Now, if I could get Jerick McKinnon as my flex or my RB3, I'm all over it.
Oh, yeah, and I tried this in a mock the other day. I went RB, and then grabbed McKinnon after. So he was my third RB, and I still ended up with my top wide receiver as T.Y. Hilton, and I was okay with that.
A little lower on ADP right now. A guy I find myself starting to reach for, and it's crazy because he's starting to be a 3rd and 4th round pick in 12-team leagues. I got him in the 6th round. Royce Freeman.
Yeah, Royce Freeman is of the rookie guys not named Barkley. I think he should be next on your list.
Yep.
If we're just looking at running backs, I mean, he's the guy that is probably going to get the touches compared to a guy. And I think you're seeing Ronald Jones fall.
I think the Broncos are going to have a good season.
Yeah, I think that they might be a little bit underrated, even with just...
And Case Keenum. Case Keenum is...
He should make Demarius better.
Case Keenum is going to come in with a chip on his shoulder because the Vikings got rid of him for Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, he's definitely going to want to ball out, and I don't.
And if I believe Keenum's going to be good, I have to believe Demaryius Thomas is a bargain right now.
Yeah, he is. He's basically going into the 4th. And
all the guy does is wake up and catch 1,000 yards in a season.
The guy you want a guy that you just know is going to be good. To me, he's the same. Fitz is going earlier than him. He's the same as Fitz.
If you want to go RB heavy to start your draft, if everybody's zigging and going wide receiver 0 RB wide receiver heavy, and you can snag Bell, Gurley, Zeke, or DJ, then you can snag Christian McCaffrey or another one of those running backs in that range. I think Demaryius Thomas is okay as your wide receiver 1. Because he has... But then if you're going to go that heavy right off the bat for your 2 workhorses, you have to start hitting in those middle rounds with wide receivers, where you're going to find yourself hoping to scoop up guys like Josh.
But I like a lot of these wide receivers in the 4th round.
I love the middle. There's I feel like after Royce Freeman, that's the cutoff for me for running backs. For the rest, I feel like the rest of the running backs in the draft is an absolute... We have to decide right now. Is this a PG?
I don't think this is going to be... It's an absolute what? Let's go.
The running backs in fantasy football this year, after Royce Freeman, in my opinion, is an absolute fucking wasteland.
Okay.
It is a barren wasteland on, Tatooine.
All right, just pause for a second. We're going to have to drink for the first F-bomb. Barren.
Rounds 5, 6, 7, 8. Give me Josh Gordon if he slips. Give me Jarvis Landry. Give me Robbie Anderson.
I mean, because then you start getting into the Alex Collins range. Who knows if he's? I mean,
Alex Collins, I'd take him. I'm taking Alex Collins because I'm scrambling for a running back because I didn't get my strategy off the back.
Yeah, he's I'll have to settle kind of running back. I don't like that strategy either. Whereas you could just load up on running back.
I was a huge fan of Geis, and he's out for the season.
So was I.
I was a huge fan of Sony Michel.
I was on Sony Michel.
I was a fan because Bill Belichick's drafting a first-round running back.
But I guess we just never see them do it, though.
The injuries, etc. We'll see. I think you can get Sony Michel really cheap right now if you trade a panicked.
I guess fan. Now if you're going to
trade with if you already drafted and someone picked him in the 4th or 5th round, they're probably panicking right now unless they have deep enough wide running backs. You could probably hop all over Sony Michel and just try to stash him. Just don't give up too much for him. And then same thing with Rashad Penny. I don't want any part of Rashad Penny right now. I don't even want to touch the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, I'm not staying far away from Rashad Penny. Chris Carson looks good, man. Or at least decent. You know, Rashad, we haven't seen anything from Rashad Penny. They're not even using him at all. I'm
gonna watch Seahawks games because you're going to see Russell Wilson run for his life, and he is going to be terrified behind that offensive line. And Doug Baldwin, it's so hard to judge what he's gonna do this year. But I don't really want to get off topic right now because I'm just getting pissed about this.
We do want to get into Flyers at some point, and we're 35 minutes in, so we got another 25. Let's go. We're in the third or fourth round here.
I think it's time for a solid Jarvis Landry, Josh Gordon debate.
Okay, now I just wanted to, because as we get into the third, fourth round, that's where the tight ends start coming off. Should we say anything about that? I mean, all three of these tight ends between Zach Ertz, Travis Kelce, Rob Gronkowski, they're leagues ahead of the other ones, I would think. For me. They're on their tier of their own. If you're going to do it and they fall a little bit, sure. It's not my move. I don't like drafting a tight end in that round because I think the value's better.
My move for drafting tight ends is see what your league is doing. Because tight end and quarterback are those positions, as soon as one person takes one, everybody starts to freak out and panic. It's like, oh my god, I need a tight end or I'm going to die. That's how it happens.
Yeah, you'll see those guys go back to back to back pretty much. I think the one that could go off is Rob Gronkowski in the right situation. So, and then, Kelce, there's... He'll get his, but...
I think Kelce could be the tight end one. Was he tight end one last year? No, he was...
Gronk didn't play all the games, so
Kelce was tight end... No, Ertz was tight end one, wasn't he?
Who was tight end one? Was it Ertz? Ertz had 10 touchdowns last year.
I don't mind Zach Ertz if you can get him at the right spot in the draft. I don't want to reach
I believe it was Ertz. Actually.
If I can get Travis Kelce...
But they were both studs.
If people let Travis Kelce get to the fourth and fifth round...
Oh, yeah, then you're...
If he falls, I'll draft him. The tight end I find myself drafting a lot this year is Evan Engram. And he's like... you can get him in round 8, round 9. If you're lucky. Just it all depends on your draft room, right? But... Evan Engram, the way I look at it is this. You got the Giants in the red zone. They got to worry about Sterling. They got to worry about Odell. They have to respect the run game now. And
Gronk was one last year. We're just getting confirmed.
Gronk was one last year?
Yeah, and he didn't even play all the games. So.
Thanks to our technical producer, Sebastian Rimland.
In the background there, just writing on a paper plate. Okay. Anyways, carry on, sorry.
So you got the Giants in the red zone. The box is going to be busy with linebackers to try to contain Saquon.
Yeah.
Odell's going to be double covered. Sterling Shepard's going to be in single coverage.
Yeah.
And that leads Evan Engram to take your lunch money. It's going to happen.
He's very talented.
The guy's a freak.
There's one thing about him last year, and he was the only receiver left, and that's why he ended up number 4. Everyone was hurt. Odell was hurt. Sterling Shepard was hurt.
And I get that.
Brandon Marshall was hurt.
But also this year,
so
I feel this year
he's not going to get the same target share.
He won't get the same target share.
So he's going to have to be more efficient.
He won't get the same target share between the 20s.
Yeah.
Red zone, I think he's going to eat. Let's say his yardage goes down, but he could easily score 10, 11, 12 touchdowns.
Yeah, like I said, his yards per reception is going to have to go up because he's not getting as many targets.
I think you could see a season like Kyle Rudolph had last year out of Evan Engram, which is perfectly fine if you're drafting him in the 9th and 10th round. Oh,
yeah, if you're getting him 9th and 10th. I don't like him in that 6-7 range, the 7-8 even. But if he's fallen to 9... Okay, I can see myself taking him there.
I guess the last...
I don't want to finish off on the 4th without talking about Doug Baldwin because he seems like a guy. He's the only guy left in the offense. Paul Richardson leaves.
And then we still have to talk about...
Jimmy Graham leaves. I mean, who are they going to throw to? Who's Russ Wilson going to throw to? He's going to throw to Doug Baldwin. And he's just... Doug Baldwin might get so many targets, he could find himself in the Doug...
all I'll say is it's season spelled SZN. It is Tyler Lockett season.
Yeah, well now
it has to happen at some point. Matt Harmon's a big guy I love following on Twitter too. And it's like he's been pounding to the death Allen Robinson and Tyler Lockett every single season, and I'm always with him, and I always find myself I have a subscription to his reception perception. It's amazing what he does with wide receivers.
Yeah. Now,
But
do you know where Lockett's, like, is he even on the radar? Is he even the top 100? No, probably.
I don't.
Yeah. So he's probably a good flyer that we could talk about later. But
we've talked about running backs.
You wanted to get into Josh Gordon.
We don't have to get into Josh Gordon this episode. We still have a lot of tread on the tires to talk about Josh Gordon.
Okay. Well,
we've talked about running backs. We've talked about wide receivers. We've talked about tight ends. Do you want to give quarterbacks some time?
Let's do a little bit there, because like we said with the 4th round, this is where Aaron Rodgers starts going up. Actually, well, in public leagues, he might go in the 3rd round because people don't understand value fully. That's not a good move usually, but
I am not a fan of drafting quarterbacks. I will say
this is the deepest ever this year.
I will say this. In my home league, my keeper league, I had 4 second-round picks. With the very last one, I took Aaron Rodgers.
It's a special circumstance.
I'm kind of regretting it now because it was like the first week of the first or second week of training camp, and if I had my way now, instead of Aaron Rodgers, I would have taken Christian McCaffrey. But I still feel okay about it because it's going to be the Aaron Rodgers comeback tour this year, and he's giving you 25 points every week, I think. If it's a normal Aaron Rodgers week, it's 25 minimum. I would much rather, in my strategy on fantasy football since the first time I ever played, was like quarterbacks don't matter. Wait on quarterback, stream quarterback.
Yeah, if I'm in a redraft, I'm not touching Aaron Rodgers till round 5 at least.
Even then, like in round 5, I would.
Still got guys like Jarvis Landry, Derrick Henry, Roy.
If he gets to the 6th round, I'm taking him every day of the week.
That's where you start looking. 6th round, okay. Now you got yourself a discussion. But
if my strategy is late QB, so let's say round 12 and on, those are quarterbacks you don't mind dropping to stream, or you hit on them, and it's fantasy gold.
Yeah, the thing is, if you don't nail on them,
who are your late round QB targets?
Look at these guys that. Like a guy, Deshaun Watson would have been top 5 easy. Carson Wentz, these are guys coming off the waiver wire.
I see some people taking Deshaun Watson as the QB1. I get it. The flash is there. The guy looks like the next Mike Vick. I just don't know if it's going to happen this season because he's coming off that ACL tear.
And going back to Doug Baldwin on that note, I'd much prefer Russell Wilson to Deshaun Watson as well. For me, it goes Rodgers, Wilson, then
Brady. Rodgers, Wilson, Brady. Then
we can start talking about Deshaun Watson.
Then I think Deshaun Watson's 5 because I think Cam Newton is my number 4.
Okay, that's a pretty bold take then on yourself. I would go Deshaun Watson 4 there, but
that's, everybody's different. I think if Christian McCaffrey is going to have a huge season catching the ball, those touchdowns.
I guess you have to think Cam's going.
And this is arguably the best skill players. Cam Newton has ever had around him. DJ Moore can ball. Greg Olson's back and healthy.
Yeah.
Devin Funchess is finally a wide receiver 1 instead of that pile of garbage, Kelvin Benjamin. And Christian McCaffrey is going to keep defense. Christian McCaffrey is going to terrify defenses. It's going to be read option with Christian McCaffrey and Cam Newton. If they start doing that again, it's going to be ridiculous. And then I think C.J. Anderson could be a low end flex. Like I'm in on the Panthers offense this year.
The reason,
if you're in on a team's offense, you have to be in on their quarterback. And I'm more in on the Panthers than I am on the Texans, so that's why I have Newton above.
Okay, but do you think Watson has a higher ceiling or no? Because I think he has a higher ceiling.
I think Cam Newton's safer.
Yeah, he's probably safer for what he is.
Deshaun Watson has QB number 1 ceiling.
Yeah, and that's why at some point you got it. So you would have him at 5 then. We're pretty even on it. Yeah. I'm going 4, you're going 5. It's not that much of a discrepancy.
Who, out of the late round QBs, who's your favorite guy to target?
Favorite guy? Oh.
Just QBs right now. We'll do flyers after this.
Yeah, I mean, once you're getting 11, 12, that you start seeing, like, Matt Ryan go. This was a guy that was going.
Matt Ryan, I'll take him every time if he gets that late.
Because
same with Matthew Stafford.
Here's the thing with the Falcons last year. They went from being like one of the top offense. They had a historic year, and then they were kind of brutal last year. So they got to meet somewhere in the middle. So he'll probably be somewhere in the middle of that, which would make him like QB7.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
My 2 late QBs that I want, like you could basically get both of these guys in the last round of your draft, no problem, is Jared Goff and Mitch Trubisky. Now Goff, I think he's going to take a step forward, and I'm in on the Rams. And I think Goff is going to take a step forward. Sammy Watkins is going to give the Rams a legitimate deep ball threat. Robert Woods is going to eat underneath like he always does. Gurley's going to keep defenses honest. So they have to put guys in the. It's such a
Goff and his receivers. It's such a
conundrum.
Watson,
it's such a conundrum to play defense against the Rams right now. Because do you load the box to stop Gurley? If you do that, Jared Goff is going to hit the quick hitters and timing routes right away. If you go in nickel, which Gurley saw nickel like almost 40 or 50% of the time last year. That's part of the reason why he ate so much. If you put your defenses into nickel to try to stop Jared Goff, Gurley's gonna hit you. So that's why I'm in on Jared Goff, because if he's just okay, you're completely fine with dropping him. And if he's good, he's fantasy gold. You got a top 10 easy QB in the last round of the draft.
The only problem is you never know when they're gonna go to Legatron. Boom.
And
coming in at the 55-yard line.
And then
the Italians are here. Bombing one.
And then the other late round QB I'm in on is Mitch Trubisky, just because I really believe what Matt Nagy is going to do with the Bears offense this year. And they brought in Allen Robinson as a weapon.
Yeah.
They drafted him a possession elite route runner in Anthony Miller. They have Trey Burton. It's sad what happened to Zach Miller.
Trey Burton's been looking good.
It's sad what happened to Zach Miller, but Trey Burton is an upgrade on Zach Miller, in my opinion.
And he's...
And if they have Trey Burton, that means that Mitch Trubisky's catching at least one touchdown this year also.
Yeah.
And then the same kind of the same situation with the Bears is the run game. And Jordan Howard actually saw the most base defenses in the NFL, I believe, last year. Whereas it's the complete flip side of Todd Gurley, where Todd Gurley saw sub packages all the time.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. Jared Goff, I mean, again, where he's going, he's pass pick. We're talking about Flyers pass pick 100. These guys are guys that could easily jump into the top 10. I don't see why not.
Other than quarterback, your favorite late round player that you can't avoid drafting. You love him. You're in on him. You want him on every single one of your teams.
Well, if this ADP's got to change. He's already gone way up in the last. He's apparently Peyton Barber's still going 130. That just doesn't make sense.
I just don't understand the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So
I don't either, but I just think that you're going to take Ronald Jones 50 picks higher. He can't even catch balls, Ronald Jones. He wasn't a guy in college that ever caught balls. He's just a straight running guy.
So Ronald Jones is Barber's your one guy?
Barber's the one guy that should be going RB 25 to me, and he's just not. But he's a good flyer, and I also really like Michael Gallup on Dallas.
Yep.
Just because he's a rookie that could. We don't really know who the number one is yet. Is Alan Hearns that proven to be the number one?
I honestly think the number one is going to end up being.
It could be Gallup.
It could be Gallup, but it's Dak Prescott for some reason loves throwing to Cole Beasley. It's I get it, but it's.
Oh, I sure hope it's not Cole Beasley.
It's the facial hair. It's a terrible.
I don't know what it is, and he had that crazy catch behind his neck last year. So
simple, my guy, Anthony Miller.
All right, so you're really going back to the well on this one. You're either an Anthony Miller here,
Anthony and Mike Williams. If
Mike Williams,
if I don't want to go back to the well and say Anthony Miller again and sound like a Bears homer, I'm really trying not to. You're talking to somebody who owns a Packers quarterback. I want to hang myself after I took him.
As you like a lot of these Bears, though, I don't. If you can't take them all on one team. No. If you go, I like Trey Burton, and you take him, you think. You just don't want to stack everyone on the same team in case they're not good. It's the same thing we said.
It's not the same situation as the Steelers, where it's they can support these Another guy I don't understand why he's going so high, but that's for next week's episode, is Juju. I don't understand why Juju's going so high when he's the third at best option on a team.
Yeah, well, because Le'Veon Bell's number 2, so
I find myself avoiding Allen Robinson in a lot of drafts just because I want Jordan Howard. And if I avoid Allen Robinson, I find myself taking
Allen Robinson.
There we go. We're back. So if like I was saying, if I take Howard, I'm avoiding A-Rob and taking Anthony Miller.
Yeah, because you can't take them all, but that's... they got some good sleepers this year for sure.
The last thing we kind of want to touch on for this week is how you approach defenses.
Yeah. Don't draft them. That's
fantasy football has changed a lot since I started playing, and we're both only 25. We've been playing since high school,
but the thing is,
you used to see people want to jump on. They get into football, they see the Seahawks, and it's like, oh, I want the Seahawks as my defense. They're my team, I want them. Which is okay. Like, I'm not going to shame you for taking a defense if you really want them. But the smarter way to play fantasy football is don't draft them. Draft as many skill position players as you can.
Yeah.
And stream.
Well, here's the thing. The ADP for the Jaguars right now is the 7th round in a public
It's
league.
ridiculous.
And it actually happens. You go in a mock draft and you're like, really? This guy just took the Jags.
and it's like, I want to hate that person for taking the Jaguars.
He is put squeezed in between Emmanuel Sanders and Marquise Goodwin. Much better value in taking either of those guys.
I want to hate that person for taking the Jaguars, but Jalen Ramsey is the fucking best player in the NFL. It's just ridiculous. But I've completely changed my stance on defenses. I always stream. And with that being said, I think my favorite defense if you're going to draft one and you want to just fill out your roster, because some people don't want to have to do drop a player. Some people just want a full roster, which is okay. You take your kicker and defense with your last 2 picks. And if I can get the New Orleans Saints for week 1, that's where I want to start my stream this year. Is with the Saints week 1 in the Superdome against Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Okay, yeah.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to turn the ball over, and he's going to turn the ball over a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's not a bad way to start. If you can pick on the Bills, do you know who the Bills are playing week 1?
Bills week 1 they're playing the Ravens. So you could...
Yeah. You're probably not going to get the Ravens D in a draft.
No. And then another defense I like for week 1, if someone's smart enough and takes the Saints on you, is I'm a big fan of the Titans defense for week 1 because they're playing the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, basically that division
I think you can... No, I'm okay with the Jets. I think the Jets
are okay with the Jets? Because... I'm
okay. I'm okay with the Jets. I think the Bills and the Dolphins are horrendous. And just because I'm okay with the Jets doesn't mean they're not going to be...
Well, yeah, I guess they play each other lots. One of them's got to be okay.
You could
one of them's gonna
patch together probably a number 1 fantasy defense this year if you just followed the Bills and Dolphins schedules.
Yeah, your defense shouldn't be one team. It should be a combination of a bunch of teams to add up to those.
I want to pick on the Bills this year. I want to pick on the Dolphins this year.
Yeah.
It used to be I want to pick on the Browns, but I'm not touching the Browns anymore. The Browns are going to torch you.
I don't know if they'll torch, but they...
I kind of want to pick on the Buccaneers for the first 3 weeks of the season also. At least. Then we'll see how good Jameis Winston is when he comes back. But I could still see myself...
Yeah, that could be a bit of a surprise, but yeah.
Just because you're picking on the Buccaneers doesn't mean that you shouldn't worry yourself if you want to use the defense playing the Buccaneers and you have Mike Evans. Mike Evans is still going to get garbage. Like we talked about it earlier. He's still going to get garbage time. You can still play a defense against them. No problem.
Yeah, absolutely. So those are definitely a couple of teams you want to pick
I think the Saints week 1 is where I want to start my defense though.
Yeah, I think that's a good start. I haven't looked into the week 1 defense matchups as much as you.
All you have to know is they're playing at the Superdome against...
I kind of like the sound of that Miami Dolphins choice there.
Yep.
That's
All right, well, we drank a couple beers.
A couple Old Mills. Maybe we'll get some better beer next time.
Dropped a couple F-bombs.
Just a couple. I didn't get into one yet this week.
Do one. Just make yourself feel better.
No, maybe I'll save it for the next one.
You gonna save one for an epic one?
Yeah, it's gotta be. I gotta get more pissed off about something.
I gotta get you really heated on a topic.
Yeah, I guess I gotta get more into my guys and get heated, but well,
I say we do this. We put one out before week 1, and we could talk about defenses more.
Yeah, we'll get into a bit more draft analysis, and then maybe start going.
Start sit.
Yeah, We can talk some start sit. I'll bone up on my defenses a bit for you. But yeah, pretty much. And then after the season starts, we'll have to do some waiver pickups and all that.
Waiver
it's a top
wire
priority. That's that's what changes your league at the end of the day.
What do you like? Do you like waiver wire priority or do you like fob? I love the fob.
Yeah, I think you could throw fob in. Like,
I'm a guy that.
How much would you spend?
I'm a guy that blew $100. No, I blew $149 of $150 fob last year because someone dropped Doug Martin. I regret it, but there's nothing better than just spending your fob and watching it.
Yeah, not
waste
turn out
away.
So much. I blew most of my fab on Lat Murray when he was the guy.
There's a guy I could get heated about. Let's end this here.
Okay, yeah, let's stop on that note.
I don't want to start my male pattern baldness over Latavius Murray.
All right, signing off. 24th.